Our speaker has come all the way from India. He is a former Bal Vikas graduate. He's a Bal Vikas graduate who is former Bal Vikas student. He's a former Sai student. He's also taught in Swami Institute as a lecturer professor. Currently, he serves as the professional tax advisor, and his teaching engagements has taken him to many institutes around the country as well as abroad, around the country of India and abroad, including the prestigious Institute of IIM, that is Indian Institute of Management. He is also a dramatist, a very soulful Bhajan singer. He has represented the state of Madhya Pradesh in cricket as well as in other sports. So you can see our all-rounder, multi-talented speaker has not left any field untouched. His speaking engagements, both as a Sai representative, has taken him to many places in the world, as well as his teaching engagements also has taken him to almost all the places in the world. Today, that place includes one, that is our retreat. And we are very grateful to Swami that Swami has brought him here. We are very appreciative that he has included us, our retreat, in his schedule. And with that, let me welcome and introduce and present our speaker, keynote speaker, guest speaker for today, Brother Tribhuvan Sachdeva. Sai Mission.
Sri Sai offering my most prayerful salutations at the lotus feet of our most beloved Lord, who is very present with us at this very moment. And why do you say that? He is present with us, dear brothers and sisters. We'll come to that. So first of all, let me pay my heartfelt gratitude to Bhagawan for permitting me to come down here and share this beautiful morning with some beautiful Sai experiences with all of us. Respected Brother Pradosh, who's been instrumental in getting me here, other office bearers, dear brothers and sisters. When we say brothers and sisters, do we really mean it? Or is it an offering we say brothers and sisters? Because I must say something. I mustn't say ladies and gentlemen like most of the people do. So we say brothers and sisters. So you know, Swami, who's residing in everybody's hearts, he knows whether we really mean honest enough to say brothers and sisters and have that feeling. So I'm reminded of a very beautiful episode with Swami that during the Dasara times, when the Ved Saptayanam would go on, there would be a lot of speakers which Swami would, kind of tell the students to come and speak. And everybody would start very gracefully with my dear brothers and sisters. And then they would go on. And that very evening, Swami came on to discourse and he said, all the speakers before me, those were all his students whom he had asked to come and speak. He said, all those speakers who have come before me, they address you as brothers and sisters. But do they really mean what they say? Do they really treat you as brothers and sisters? So there was a big question mark and a lot of silence in the whole gathering. You can imagine in the Purnachandra auditorium with more than 10,000 people sitting and pin drop silence. And then Swami says, if all these speakers who really say brothers and sisters, would they be willing to share their properties with everybody? Would they be willing to share all what their father left them? And probably with everybody, because if you say that you are brothers and sisters, you should be willing to do that. A big question mark again. Those of them who had not spoken, they were wondering, what are we going to address tomorrow? But then after having said, a big question mark came. So one of my brothers who got a chance, he didn't know what to start a speech with. If he says brothers and sisters, Swami might call him up. Are you really meaning it that way? So, people think that we can outfox Swami and we can outthink Swami, we can outwit Swami. So one of my brothers came onto the dais and he said, fellow pilgrims to the path of spirituality. So, well taken. And then came Swami's turn to speak. And Swami said, see, yesterday itself I said, you guys don't mean brothers and sisters. And see the live example, the next speaker who comes here, he says fellow pilgrims. He did not have the conviction to say that yes, brothers and sisters. So you must have the conviction. Just because Swami tells you that you don't feel that way doesn't mean that you should stop feeling it. It should be brothers and sisters only. Then one of my friends who was there, from whose I heard from this anecdote from him. So he said, what is the wealth which Swami mentioned about sharing with all the brothers and sisters? Is it that worldly belongings which we have that Swami wants you to share? Is it that property which my parents have left for me that I should be sharing? Is it the wealth I have accumulated which I would be sharing? He said, no, neti. This cannot be it. Because Swami itself says, if you start sharing your wealth with everybody, so then that is, you are creating a disbalance in any case in society. What you are supposed to do is, give it for a good cause, for a school, for a hospital, for Narayan Seva, for things which would upgrade the downtrodden people, which will give you that feeling of happiness, rather than showing off to people how much wealth I have accumulated. So then, which is that wealth Swami is talking about? And my brother here said, that it is the wealth of those experiences which Swami has given you. It is the wealth of the time spent with Bhagawan, which he has given to you as students, as teachers. That is the real wealth which your heart has. So share it with everybody. Go and speak to everybody from the mountaintops, from your hilltops, and say that you have had the good fortune of witnessing Bhagawan as he was. He has made you what you are today. We were nothing. He has touched me and I have grown. That is the feeling all of us have felt throughout our lives. So when I say brothers and sisters, I do really mean that here, this instance, that yes. So here I am, halfway across the world, to share a few good moments, share a few anecdotes which will hopefully motivate all of us. I do not know whether it will motivate us, it would help us, it would direct us. But Swami has said, remember, when you think of me, I am thinking of you. So all of us are here in this satsang and we are going to be thinking of Bhagawan. So imagine our good fortune. Swami would be thinking about us at this moment. So we are so lucky, Bhagawan. You have said us and given us this formula of happiness. Think of me and I shall think of you. So here we are. So let's start on this small little journey of spending those beautiful moments which I would like to share with you, which I feel are my personal wealth which Bhagawan had given. And as I started, I said Swami is verily with us. Why did I say it? A very old-time devotee who had guided me during my Bal Vikas days, he said that Swami had once said to me, do you know the God's telephone number? We said, we do not have God's telephone number. In those days, there were no mobiles, there were only landlines. and you had to dial with your hand and cut, and then cut, and then the numbers would get dialed. I'm talking of the early 70s. And what did he type? Do you have God's telephone number? Would you like to speak to God? And I, like a Bal Vikas student, an enthusiastic person which I was, I said, yes, we all want to know God's number. He said, God has a very simple telephone number. 3 Omkarams. When you do 3 Omkarams, the first Omkaram you do, Swami immediately leaves from wherever he is. In the second Omkaram, he arrives at wherever you are sitting. And in the third Omkaram, when you chant, Swami takes his seat which you have given to him. So when you chant 3 Omkarams, you are connected directly with God, you are directly with Sai. So you all chanted Omkaram thrice before the bhajans began. And that's why I said Swami is there verily with us. So we are blessed. We have to open our inner chakshus, our inner eyes to experience that divinity, to experience that bliss. The theme of our conference is love gives and forgives. So, love lives by giving and forgiving. So, if you look at it, there are 3 very important words which Swami has given to us. One is love, second is giving, and third is forgiving. Love is something we always want. Giving, a little difficult aspect of our persona. And forgiving, well, I must be always forgiving. As far as I am supposed to forgive, that's my prerogative. That's what we think in our lives. But then Swami doesn't feel that way. Swami has come to give, give, give. And what does he give first? He gives you love. If I am to ask every single person who is present here, why are you still attracted with Swami? So everybody would say that other than the miracles which first brought me closer to Swami, it was his love. It was his unflinching love for me. I did mistakes, but he readily forgave. I did errors, but he was always there to welcome me with open arms. I had so many flaws in my character, but he was willing to overlook them because one little thing I had in my heart was that seed of love. And that seed of love is what Bhagawan wanted to cultivate in all our hearts. And Swami stands for love alone. And what kind of love we have all experienced in our hearts, that in spite of the presence of Swami's physical form, we still feel his presence. What greater good fortune for all of us that we are living in an era that we are all contemporaries of Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Do you know that possibly what is going to happen after we leave our mortal coils? What will our children look up at as? You know, long back ago, I had an opportunity to go to Shirdi. So there was a pujari, you know, in those earlier days, before, it was just the time when the movie had come, Shirdi Ke Sai Baba, and people were just getting to know about Shirdi Baba. In fact, you know, when one of those persons who had directed and made this movie, he had approached Swami and he said, Swami, I want to make a movie on your life. Swami said, what you are going to make a movie on my life? First make a movie on my earlier avatar. Let the whole world know about me. Then they will automatically come to me. So that is how the movie of Shirdi Ke Sai Baba came into being. The devotees of Bombay got together and they made this movie, which was probably the biggest hit of its time, and lots of people got to know about Shirdi Baba then. So once of these opportunities, when we went to Shirdi in the early 70s there, and those were the times you could park your car outside and walk in. There were hardly any people. And I noticed there was a pujari who was offering arati to Bhagawan in the evening. And there was one more person who was also helping him and assisting him. Even when the arati was over, he took that flame and started walking out through a door. And I was a little inquisitive to see where this person was going. And he got out, crossed the lane, and across the lane was his house. And with that same arti which he had offered, he was offering arti to an old man with a pagadi whose photograph was kept on the wall. And as he was wondering, I was thinking that probably it must be one of those contemporaries of Shri Sai Baba, or must be one of those real great devotees, or some great soul. So after the arti was over, I just went to the Panditji and asked him, I said, sir, who was this great person whom you were offering this arti after offering the same arti to Shirdi Baba first? He said, oh, this person, he's my father. Oh, I said, He said, Father, he must be a very great soul. He said, yes, he was a great soul. He lived with Shirdi Baba. You know something? He had seen Shirdi Baba. He walked with Shirdi Baba. Baba talked to him. So after offering the Aarti, I offer him that he is such a great soul to have lived and seen the avatar of the age. So a thought struck me. Imagine how lucky all of us are. We have also seen Baba. We have also witnessed him. Imagine that after we pass away, probably, if we have done some good deeds and we've been a role model, even our children are going to place our pictures and they might say, oh, we are so lucky that our parents had witnessed Baba. They had seen Swami. They had spoken to him. They had been blessed by him. Imagine, this is the kind of level all of us are, and we don't know our good fortune that we have been contemporaries of Bhagawan, who has chosen to bless all of us. So when it comes about love and giving, I have a very beautiful anecdote to share with all of you. But then, Swami, who's virtually representing love, virtually and physically, throughout his life, Swami would say that love has a boomerang effect. Love has a boomerang effect. What's a boomerang? It's an Aborigine weapon used by the Australian Aborigines there, and if you hit it, it goes and hits the target and comes back to you. So Swami says sometimes love has a boomerang effect, that when you hit somebody with love, that force comes back to you. Normally what happens, when you give money, it gets reduced. When you share your wealth, it gets reduced. But Swami says when you share your love, it multiplies and it comes back to you, and so many more distinct factors. And Swami said, why do I love all of you? Because I have divided myself into so many people here so that I could love myself. Oh my goodness. I've never heard anyone speak like this, that I have divided myself in so many souls so that I could love myself. But Swami truly represented it, because those of us who were fortunate to have his darshans, to have a few words with him, we have witnessed that love. And we have seen how Swami's genuine love was there for all of us. How much he cared for all of us. And Swami said, we are all taught, especially some of us, we are all taught that whatever is precious, hold it and keep it. If we make some gold jewelry, we wear it during our wedding times, but then we hold it and we keep it in a locker. Oh, to be used only on special occasions. When we have something expensive, we want to show it to everybody, but then we hold it. But Swami says, love is not a feeling which needs to be hoarded. It needs to be divided so that it can spread around so many. Imagine, earlier, there were very few people who knew this factor, but Swami loved us. He touched us. And now we understand that when I also share a little bit of my love with everybody, there are so many more people who are going to be spreading that love. Maybe somebody goes and takes that love and shares it with his family. The family goes and shares it with the neighborhood. The neighborhood goes and shares it in the total vicinity. And then you find suddenly that the whole city is wanting to love each other, wanting to help each other. That was the basic factor with which Swami wanted to teach us this most important lesson. When we were students, it was a great good fortune for us that on many occasions we would go to Swami and ask him that, Swami, please come to the hostel. Hostel was a second home, as we would treat for Swami. The first home used to be Prasanthi Nilayam, and our hostel was a little far away. So we would pray to Swami, and invariably, whenever we would tell Swami, Swami would say, no, I'm very busy. It is Dasara, it is birthday. So many devotees have come. What do I come and do in your hostel? You guys are anyway not listening to all what I say. And with some pretext, some excuse, he will not want to come. Then we would go around, plan, take the warden's permission. Then one fine evening when Swami would come out, we'd do a ghirao. We would go all around him, and then somebody would catch hold of his hand, somebody would catch hold of his feet, somebody would, tug at his robe, how a child would do to his mother, and say, Swami, please come to the hostel, Swami, please come to the hostel. And then Swami would ultimately relent, as he would do like a loving mother to his children. Okay, when do you want me to come? Swami, whenever you come. Okay, Sunday it is, I will come at 4 o'clock. So this is how it would happen. So, now, it was Dasara time, and during Dasara time, it was the Purnahuti day of Dasara. And on the Purnahuti day, we were all students were sitting singing bhajans in the Purna Chandra auditorium. And all the VIPs, the special guests, they were being escorted into the Purna Chandra, either by the then manager, Mr. Kutum Rao or Mr. Chiranjeev Rao, and the special people were being escorted and then they were being shown a place to sit. So then we noticed there was one gentleman, a very frail looking gentleman with a new silk dhoti and a new silk angavastram, who was escorted and made to sit ahead of the students. So we thought, oh wow, must be some great devotee. We thought probably one of those priests Swami would wanting to be officiating in this yagnam. It must be him. Anyway, we didn't take much notice of it. And soon after the Dasara got over, the ceremonies got over, the students performed on the last day of Dasara in the evening, and Swami was very happy. There used to be a jhula ceremony. The students would sing, and Swami was made to sit on a jhula, and we all had the good fortune of, pushing the jhula a little bit. The elders in the ashram would come and do it, the central trust members would do it, and some of us also would, kind of quietly get in and get a chance to push the jhula. And those were some beautiful moments when Swami would sit in that blissful mood with all his children singing, and he would be enjoying that whole affair, and there would be some professional singers sitting in the crowd, but he wanted always his children to be singing. So that day got over, and next day to Dasara, Swami called the warden early in the morning, and after Dasara, as you know, the crowd starts to disperse and we go to our college, because those 10 days we have a rum time with Swami, no college, no studies, nothing, just Swami, Swami and Swami, morning, afternoon, evening. So after 10 days were over, like all good things come to an end, so we had to start going to our college. So that day, Swami called the warden in the morning and gave him some stern instructions. So soon after we came back for lunch. After the lunch, an emergency meeting was called, and the warden came very sternly in front of all the children. And he said, my dear boys, this morning I was summoned by Bhagawan, and I went there, and Swami has asked and commanded me to tell all you boys that when you come in the afternoon, you must all ask me to come to the hostel. I said, what, sir? Come again? Swami has commanded me to ask all you boys to pray to me and ask me to come to the hostel. And I want to come to the hostel. I said, wow, what would a blind man want if he's being given eyes? And here it is, we used to pray to Swami, we used to ask him on many occasions, and here Swami saying, ask the boys to ask me. So all it was planned. Some of our senior students sat at the front. Some of those boys whom Swami was fond of talking to, they were also made to sit with us. Some other children came along. The lecturers sat at the back so that in case they get an opportunity, they will catch hold of Swami there. And if in case we are unable to catch hold of Swami when Swami comes out, 4 o'clock it was, and click, the silver door opened and out walked Swami. And as we had planned, because now we had the divine permission to invite him. We did not feel scared, we were not worried. We all got up, Swami, Swami, we want, hey, Vadura, sit down. Swami made. Kya natak karta? Told some of us. What is all this drama you're doing? I only asked you to call me. And you are planning great things. Zara, we'll catch hold of Swami. You catch hold of his arm. I will catch hold of his feet. And if he doesn't relent, you start crying. And Swami said, all what you are discussing, don't I know all this? I only told. So when do you want me to come? I am wanting to come to the hostel. He said, Swami, tomorrow itself could be a good chance. Yes, tomorrow is a good day. I will come to the hostel. You make preparations. You clean your hostel. And I'm going to get a wonderful singer to come and perform for all of you. Wow. The cherry on the top. When Swami would get some guest with him to the hostel, that means that guest is very close to Swami. And prior to this, wall had come to our hostel. Cricketer Sunil Gavaskar, Pandit Ravi Shankar, Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma. These are the people Swami would escort to the hostel. He would show around his second home, as Swami would say. He would show around his children and he would feel so happy like a mother would do. And next day, we all worked hard. made the hostel spick and span, clean. Even we opened up our rooms, made our altars beautiful with pathways built for Swami and roses strewn on the pathways, so that if Swami goes by and he decides to come in this corridor, if he passes my room, he should know this is the picture. So all of us kept our cupboards also open, where we had Swami's altar with all, flowers and everything. Like all the childish people, we would do, small children, to make Bhagawan happy. So that we know, we wanted to tell him that we love you, Lord, and we are so happy that you're coming to our home. So that was the feeling all of us had. And again, at 4 o'clock sharp, Swami's car moved in, and the Sai Gita, who was opposite the school, opposite our hostel, she started getting excited and shouting. She would always shout when she could hear Swami's car start in the mandir. We couldn't, but when we would hear Sai Gita getting restless, all of us knew that Swami has started from the mandir. That was the deep connection with that animal which Swami had. I think that animal was a great soul. We call it an animal, but we were animals if you look at it, for her devotion. That was the kind of devotion Sai Gita had for Swami. Imagine if the Benz car would start in ashram, she would know that my Lord is coming. That was the devotion. I mean, this is the pure devotion. So we understood then why Swami had given Sai Gita such huge ears. She made quite good use of it, and that worked as a signal for all of us. And that evening, Swami came, he waved Sai Gita because he had an appointment with all his children, and there we saw that same old man on whom we had witnessed on the Dasara day, who was made to come and sit, again with a very new silver, a new silk dhoti, a silk angavastram, but he was looking frail and a little sickly. And we thought, we didn't know who he was standing outside the gate. Swami stopped the car and asked him to come inside. When Swami's car went, he followed. Swami said, "You follow me." And Swami brought him with us inside the hostel, where all the boys were sitting. He gave him a special place to sit, and we didn't know who he was. After the bhajans were over, 1 or 2 boys got up to speak how lucky they were that Swami chose this great day to come and speak to them. Then Swami said, "Didn't I tell you I'm going to get a very good singer? So here it is, this guy, I would like him to do Hari Katha for you, a Burra Katha, as they call it in Andhra Pradesh." So those of us who are not very familiar with the concept of Hari Katha, this is the folk singing, in which a person has a tanpura in his hand, we call it tambura, like Mirabai held, and kartals in the hand, those which you make chum 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 noise. And you sing the glory of Lord Vishnu. You sing about Lord Vishnu and you relate the story, and after relating the story, you sing a bhajan, and it is in a very spiritual atmosphere that people enjoy this kind of a thing, especially villagers, where at those moments you didn't have films and videos and so forth. So these people would go around singing village to village the Burra Katha, and Swami would enjoy that. So this man came, he was given a microphone, this thing, and then he prayed to Swami, and he was looking very nervous. We were wondering why such a great artist, Swami is calling him here. That means he must be one of the world-class artists who's going to sing. So we were all geared up. This poor man started his singing, and to be honest, I don't want to be judgmental, but he wasn't all that good. In fact, a folk singer who kind of, was a little crude in his finishing voice, and his voice faltered, and he would go out of Shruti, and we would look at Swami, in case we are singing bhajans, a little out of Shruti or a little out of Talam, and Swami would glare at us and look. And here he was, going out of Shruti, out of Talam, coughing in between, and Swami was enjoying it was a divine singer, an angel singing. I've never seen Swami sitting on the chair and enjoying every bit of his singing. And honestly, we were very disappointed. We thought there's going to be some great artist, and he's going to sing some good Carnatic Tyagaraj Kirtanams, or he's going to sing pure Hindustani, and we are in for a treat because Swami has asked us to be invited to the hostel and all that. Anyway, he sang for a good half an hour, after which Swami blessed him profusely and made him sit down. And the guy was so old and frail, he was coughing. Swami asked for a glass of water for him. A glass of water was brought. Swami made him comfortable. Then Swami came onto the dais and started speaking. Then No word was exchanged, nothing was spoken about this man. After the discourse was over, Swami got down and signaled for the Aarti. Soon as the boys were getting up, Swami made them sit down again. And he called for the microphone. And Swami said, I know one thing. You boys are wondering that normally you have to make so much of an effort to invite me to the hostel. And here, why did I tell that you invite me? And I readily agreed. And I said, I'm going to get a very good singer today. And look, we had so-and-so gentleman singing to you. And what a great singer he was. Wasn't he? Now he looked at some of the Bhajan singers and half-heartedly we shook our heads. Because we knew he was nothing. All the boys probably, every single one of them, even the very great singer would have been better than him. But then what we realized, Swami was in love with this man. He enjoyed his singing so much, he was wanting probably, as I say the word probably, he wanted to drive home that he doesn't want outside show. What he's craving for is the bhava. It was that bhava with which he was singing, that bhakti bhava with which, that is what must have impressed Swami. That is what we thought. And we had no measurement to measure his bhakti, that how he was feeling. So we just fell along Swami's line. Then after this, just before the Aarti began, Swami said, now I will tell you the story of this man. He said, he's a poor man, a poor Brahmin, who has all his life only done Hari Katha. He doesn't know anything else, and he would go from village to village doing Hari Katha, and people would give him rice, people would give him old clothes, someone would give him his old utensils, and with whatever meager earnings he had, somebody would give him a 2 rupee note or a 5 rupee note. Whatever meager earnings he had, he would probably account his living. He has lived in abject poverty throughout his life. There have been days in his house when he had no food to eat, but he never complained to me. He never complained to God. All he said, I am getting enough what God has planned for me. I am supposed to do Hari Katha. I will go from village to village and continue doing Hari Katha. So this time, when the festival of Dasara came through, enthusiastically his wife said, why don't you go out and do Hari Katha? It is that holy time of Navratra, and people would call you to various villages and you will get rice also, clothes also, little money also, and maybe the next few days we will have a little comfortable time in our lives. So this man traveled from one village to another without much success. Swami said these days people want to have film shows in Navratris. They want to have music shows in Navratris. They want to have dance sessions in Navratri. But nobody wanted to have a poor Hari Katha person singing the praises of Lord Vishnu and chanting his bhajans and also relating some very good episodes. So what happened? When he reached Anantapur, somebody told him, why don't you go to Puttaparthi? The whole world converges there, and Swami is fond of musicians. Swami is fond of those people who sing well, and you have so much of bhava with which you sing. So why don't you go to Puttaparthi? So with great hope and expectation, somebody gave him a few rupees to buy a ticket from Anantapur bus. He travelled to Puttaparthi and reached on the penultimate day of Dasara, early morning. Now imagine, when there is a penultimate day, the whole ashram is gearing up for the Purna Ahuti. Everybody is there, and you can imagine easily close to 20 to 25,000 people are moving around in the ashram at any given time. Feeling completely lost, he thought it would be a small ashram. He'd go to Baba and pray, Swami, I would like to sing on this Dasara day before you. And Swami would probably give him an opportunity. He didn't know, he felt lost. It was like a Kumbh Ka Mela wherein he had nothing to talk to anybody. There were no known people. He went near the neem tree opposite the mandir, put his luggage there, and feeling lost, suddenly he saw a man in white dhoti and white kurta coming to him with meaningful glances. And that man came and asked, are you so-and-so? So this guy got scared. Oh my God, how does he know my name? So he said, yes sir, I'm so-and-so. Oh my God. You know, from morning, Swami has sent me thrice under this neem tree. And he has been remembering you. He said, you would be coming here early in the morning. So I was entrusted with the responsibility to take you very respectfully, and I had instructions to first feed you, then take you into the room, give you a warm water bath, give you new clothes which Swami has sent, and bring you respectfully at 8 o'clock to sit in the front to witness Purnamurti. This man didn't know what hit him. He said, oh my God, they seem to be having a very good information system, better than the CPI. You know, that wherein a man walks in and there is a guy waiting there, and who was the gentleman? He was the ashram manager, Mr. Kutum Rao. And those of us who have seen him, they know what a stern kind of a character he was. And he was always on the move. Wherever Swami would send him, he would go around running in that age. So, very respectfully, he was taken. He was given a shower, warm food to eat, new clothes to wear, and as we saw on that day, Swami made him sit for Purnamurti in the front. Evening he attended, but then in his heart of hearts, Swami said he wanted to sing in front of me. Now how could I give him an opportunity on Dasara day when I had already given an opportunity to all my children to sing? And I knew that it would not be an apt place for him to sing. So I took it upon myself to fulfill his wish and ask you all to invite me, so that when you invite me, I will call him to the hostel and I will make him sing. And today, you all heard him sing. Wasn't he good? By which time all of us felt he was great. He was not just good, he was great. I mean, we understood what was the history behind him, and we all shook our heads. Swami said, Aim Ras. You know, with that typical pathos and the sympathy which Swami had, the love which Swami had. Swami said, what is this? When a person works for a government throughout his life, even the government pays him pension after he retires. This poor man, throughout his life, he has done nothing but taken God's name. He has taken my name. Look at that, Swami's oneness. He was doing Vishnu's Katha, Hari Katha. Swami said throughout his life, he has done nothing but taken God's name. And now, in the evening of his career, when he is about to retire, his voice is faltering, his health is not supporting. How could I leave him? Even he deserves a pension. That's why I called him here to Puttaparthi. I drew him to me in Puttaparthi. Now, I am announcing publicly, this man is going to stay for the rest of his life in Puttaparthi. I am going to feed him, I am going to give him clothes, I am going to take responsibility of his children, I am going to ensure that his children study well and get out. This is the least I can do by way of paying pension to a devotee who throughout his life has only taken God's name. He is God for nothing. He knows what it is. Imagine what a great example he set for all of us. And after that incident, for years together, I would see that man sitting peacefully with the old gentleman on those black benches in Kulwant Hall also, when the Kulwant Hall came into being, and he would be there, and Swami had taken care of him. He had given him an apartment there in Puttaparthi. His food was free for him. Clothes were given to him on various occasions when Swami would do. And his children were placed into the Isharamba school to study. This is the love of Swami. This is the giving aspect. I mean, imagine what is Swami teaching us? That you have to become one day one with him. You have to raise your level. So your giving should be in this mode, wherein we also raise our level of giving, wherein when we see a true devotee of God who has done nothing but take his God's name, maybe we could also emulate that example. So, this was one of the very touching examples which I saw with my own eyes, witnessed it, and saw as a student how Swami had that love for people, and he was always giving. You know, came 1991, and the super speciality, the first super speciality hospital was built in Puttaparthi, and by which time my father was made the state president of Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. And they were given instructions that all poor patients who come to you, without thinking even once, direct them to Puttaparthi. I want to ensure, Swami said, I want to ensure that all these people are given free treatment, they are treated well, and they all gain that, good health, and they are able to take care of their family. So, we were following this rule. All of us, whenever a poor patient would come to us looking for our office, and we were all gladly directed to our dad's chamber, and dad would be so happy that Swami has sent someone, and we would go, send him, give him all the directions, all the help, and there would be times, when a Sevadal would accompany that poor man to Puttaparthi to ensure. Those were the days you were first supposed to send all the reports by mail. When I say mail, the postage mail, not the email variety. So, we would send through the post all his reports. The doctors would have a look, and then they would send you a postcard which would tell that on such and such date, please send your patient to Puttaparthi for having a look. After the patient was taken care of, then the patient was sent back, and then another postcard would follow which would say that on such and such day, the operation is going to be carried out, so please send your patient again. So those who referred, like my father would write a detailed letter and then post it, and then there would be another postcard which would come. So one evening, a poor peasant, a poor farmer came to my dad's office, and I happened to be there, and I saw that his kurta was all dirty and torn from certain places. His dhoti was all crumpled up. He had the Gandhi topi on his head, and we could make it out this guy was really son of the soil, a very poor person. So very hesitatingly, he came into an air-conditioned office, and he was even not wanting to sit, but father very lovingly made him sit, offered him a glass of water, asked him if he was hungry and if he would like to eat. I was looking at that aspect of how my father would deal with these patients who would come to him. And after making them comfortable, he asked, yes, brother, tell me, how can I help you? Then he said, I went to so-and-so doctor in Indore, and he said, you need a bypass surgery, and that will cost you close to 4 lakhs rupees. So do you have that kind of money? If you don't have that money, you will probably, I'll give you not more than 2 months to live. So then I told the doctor, I don't have that kind of money. So what do I do now? So he said, there is one Mr. Sachdeva, go down to his office. I heard he's been referring patients to a place called Puttaparthi, where Sai Baba has been carrying out these surgeries on them free of charge. Maybe you go to him if he can help you. The doctor was a commercial doctor, but a good man though. He sent him, he did not even know us, we didn't know him, but he came to us and he said, sir, I have no money with me, no money to even travel. How do I go to Puttaparthi? So my dad made him sit down and said, don't worry, we'll do it for you. A letter was written, it was sent, and the postcard came in after a few days. We called him up telephonically and told him, take this money, sit in that train which leaves very close to your village, Karnataka Express, which will take you to Puttaparthi, get down at Dharmavaram, and then go down and get yourselves checked up. So all the instructions was given, a little help was made to him. This poor man, who had no clue to Sathya Sai Baba, he had no clue to a hospital, because he has small children and 2 elderly parents to take care of, and being a poor man, which he was, the last hope was that somebody will take care of my health. So he landed in Puttaparthi. And sure enough, morning he lined up, and the doctors called him, and the doctors had a look at him, and they said, oh my God, you have a very serious heart problem, and if you are not operated upon immediately, I'm sorry, you don't have too much time. I think the maximum I can do is 2 weeks' time, and in these 2 weeks, if you want to go back to your village and come back, I'm giving you the day today itself, note down, and get yourselves operated. So that man started laughing at the doctor. He said, sir, with great difficulty I have been able to come here. If I go back, I don't think so I'll have money left to come back again for this surgery. So can I stay here somewhere? So the doctor, being a kind man, a Swami's devotee, hardcore one at that, he said, why don't you go to the ashram? So he said, what will I do in the ashram? He said, oh, this hospital has been made by Sri Sathya Sai Baba. You can have the good fortune of having his darshans. And what do I do then? He said, you have his darshans morning and afternoon, and then after 2 weeks you come to me, and maybe after 10 days, if you are going to live here, after 10 days I can call you. So this poor old man, who had no clue to Baba, he found himself sitting in Prasanthi Mandir on the sands there. And Swami would come in front of him, go back, and he suddenly found, the first day he looked at a person virtually floating on the ground with a robe and with that blissful smile, love oozing out of every pore of his body, and something touched him. The second time Swami came, he found himself folding his hands. The third time, he was craving to be close to Swami. But then it doesn't happen in Puttaparthi unless you are lucky to get that first token to be sitting in the front row. He never got the first token, but wherever he was in bliss looking at Swami. He forgot about his heart condition. He would be the first person early morning at 4 o'clock to sit in the front, first person in the afternoon to sit there just to get a chance to see Swami. And the Sevadal got to know him because all he spoke was Hindi, and he had no clue to anything else. He had to be directed, go there, live in the Ganesha shed, go and have food. So, gradually he got to know the place, and the place grew on him. And he realized what a wonderful place this was. Came the 10th day, and the Sevadal said, would you want to sit in the front? So when Swami comes, you can talk to Swami. So he said, what will happen then? Ask for Swami's blessing, Babu. You have a surgery this afternoon. He said, oh wow. So would Swami talk to me? He said, why don't you sit in the front? Now, the Sevadal person, feeling sympathy, pity for this man, made him sit down because that afternoon he was to be taken for surgery. Now, with a lot of pride and with a lot of happiness, he sat in the front row, and Swami came gliding towards him, and he got up on his knees, and Swami said, "Ha, bolo." Swami knows which language you speak, So Swami said, "Ha, bolo." So he got up and said, "Swami, today it is my surgery in the super speciality hospital, so please bless me." Swami became very stern looking at him. A poor man. He had always seen Swami blissful with so much of love. Swami became very stern. And Swami answered him back in Hindi, "Jisko mujh mein vishwas, मैं उसके लिए मंदिर बनाया, जिसको डॉक्टर में विश्वास, मैं उसके लिए हॉस्पिटल बनाया." Wow! What an answer! Swami said, "Those who have faith in me, I have made this temple, and those who have faith in the doctors, for them I have made this hospital." And Swami gave him that bewitching smile of his and moved ahead. This guy fell on his place. He started thinking, what did Swami tell me? जिसको मुझ में विश्वास, मैं उसके लिए मंदिर बनाया. जिसको डॉक्टर में विश्वास, मैं हॉस्पिटल बनाया. So what should I do? What would you do? As it is in that age, that time, getting an appointment itself was a big thing. And getting an appointment, and that very afternoon you are to be operated upon, and Swami gives you probably one of those, off-the-cuff remarks and walks away. He went down to that Sevadal guy who was instrumental in making him sit there. He come here, gentlemen, tell me what should I do? Now the Sevadal guy was equally confused. So he said, look, however much I may tell you, I think you go for the surgery, Baba. With great difficulty, you've got this chance. So Swami will say something, you go get yourself operated. Now, he didn't know what to do. But this man kept on thinking. Now, there was that bus which was leaving for super speciality from the canteen. He had those 15 minutes either to go and board that bus and go to the super speciality hospital or go inside to the mandir to have darshans. I don't know what came over him. He chose to go inside the mandir. That man who had never seen Swami, who had never witnessed Swami prior to this, he did not know anything about Swami. 10 days of darshan of Swami, he said, no. Swami bole mujhko ki jisko mujh mein vishwas mein mandir banaya. I go to the mandir. This man went inside mandir. Nothing happened. He didn't get electric shock. He did not get Akashvani. Swami did not appear to him and said, very good, my child, you've done the right job. Nothing happened. He went in, came out, and he saw the bus going in front of him. And he thought life slipping by. He was confused whether I chose the right thing. Did he do the right thing? So let's see. Now, every day, he would go to the mandir, have darshans, come back. Go to the mandir, have darshans, come back. Came the time when after about 3 or 4 days, he was panting for breath. He was standing near the canteen door, holding his heart, panting for breath, and the doctor came through. And the doctor looked at him, "Arey Baba, what happened to you? Why didn't you come for surgery? You were here only." So he said, "Sir, Swami bola, जिसको मुझ में विश्वास मंदिर बनाया, जिसको डॉक्टर में विश्वास हॉस्पिटल बनाया. What could I do?" The doctor also got confused. Imagine if I was the doctor, I would be equally confused. So he said, "Nevertheless, today there is one patient whom I had sent in a message, he's not come, so you come with me, I'll take you for a checkup and maybe I'll give you another date." Now seeing his condition, we took him, did all the checkups. Once he did a checkup, called the senior doctor, made him do a second checkup, and they spoke seriously. Probably his condition was worsening. They came out and both of them did namaskar to that patient, and they said, "I don't know what Bhagavan has done to you, but there is no problem of any situation in your heart. You are cured. You can go back." And that man couldn't believe. In the morning, I was panting for breath, and this doctor here says, "You can go back." He said, "Yes, you are absolutely fine. I've called the senior cardiologist. He's also had a look at you, and you don't have a heart condition. There is nothing at all." That poor man, with tears streaming through his eyes, went yet again for darshans, the last darshans he had, and then came home and fell at my dad's feet and related this beautiful episode. He said, "I don't know that there are cures happening like this. I'm not even a devotee. I'm not even a rich person whom Swami would talk to. But Swami spoke to me and he guided me." And then he went to the doctor, the local doctor to thank him, who had a full checkup. And he said, you know what the local doctor said? "You are lying to me. Somebody has operated upon you and that heart problem is no more there, but you are lying that you have not been operated. Something has been done to you." Now how could he explain that the surgeons of surgeons had done something? He had touched him and he was cured. So this is how. The love of God, the giving of God. You know how beautiful it is when God gives you. When it comes to giving, He gives you and doesn't stop at that. We're also talking about the forgiving aspect of Bhagavan. You know, I would like to go on and on about the giving aspect of Bhagavan because we are receiving it. So when you receive something, when somebody gives you a gift, you feel so happy. When somebody loves you, you feel so happy. When somebody recognizes you, you feel so happy. So when you receive, so when somebody is giving, you feel so happy. So shouldn't you also be giving so that the other person feels happy? This is what Swami wants us to learn from his giving part. So what do we give? And what do we give to Bhagavan? So we'll talk about that at the end of the talk. But talking about the forgiving aspect of Swami, how he used to forgive everybody. I mean, if I look at myself today, I'm a much better human being than what I was when I started my journey. But then I still have a long way to go. I'm really not perfect as Swami would want an ideal role model to be. Yes, I might be that, but I still have a long way to go because I know myself. Ultimately, when I face Swami, I have to be honest to Swami. But yet, when he receives me lovingly. He calls me Bangaru. What does Bangaru mean? In Telugu, he uses that word lovingly. He'll pat your cheek and says Bangaru. He would call that. Bangaru means gold. So does it mean I'm gold? One interpretation could be, I am gold now. But Swami has said in one of his discourses, when I tell you Bangaru, I mean I want you to become like gold. It doesn't mean that you're already gold. When I say Bangaru lovingly, it means I want you to become as pure, as valuable, as good as gold. That is what it is. So those of us who are lucky enough, when Swami pulled our cheeks and told us Bangaru, so then he showed us the way that when you have to go through that process of burning, that process of being hit, that process of being purified, leaving your impurities to become gold. So, that is how it is with all of us when we look at Swami. So, you know, in India, when we became members of the organization, I was a student of Bal Vikas. I was just 11 or 12 years old. So Swami gave us an activity which Swami said Narayan Seva, which we normally call as poor feeding. And Swami never said it poor feeding. He said it is your feeding which becomes poor when you call poor feeding. So say Narayan Seva. And what is the Narayan Seva? Wherein you collect food, offer it to those poor souls who have not had a square meal for the day, and treat them as Bhagawan as you offer them. So Swami said you must prepare the same kind of food when you do this activity as the same food which you eat at home. So when this activity began, in the initial stages, we were told as members of organization that in your vicinity, wherever you live, identify 40 or 50 houses. Go and meet those people and tell them that every Sunday between 11 and 1 o'clock, we'll come to your house. You kindly prepare 4 rotis with some aloo ki sabzi or some dry vegetable with it, fold it and give it to us, and that will be forming a meal for one poor person. So what we would do, we would assemble, like say if I were to go to 50 places, I will have 50 into 4, 200 rotis. We would put them together, the dry vegetable would be placed together, and then there will be another people who will come from different areas, so all the rotis will be put together, all the vegetables will be put together, and then in a slum area, we would go down there, line up all these Narayanas and tell them Sai Ram, and with all our utmost love and affection, we would give them that roti and with the sabzi. But we noticed, you know, whenever we would go for asking these food packets, not everybody received you, though we had gone and met them, so not everybody would receive you with a very welcoming note. Now, I used to see my dad would get down from his car with a bag in his hand, would go and ring the bell, so somebody will shout from inside, "Kaun hai?" The typical movie style, and then you will say, "Sai Ram sir, food packet." "Ah, ruko ruko." Then the housewife will come running and say, "Sir, 1 minute." She'll quickly go down and prepare a piping hot rotis, and the woman wrapped in a newspaper, the moment she'll give, you know, oh my God, what a great soul. She waited for me to come and then bake those rotis, and with that hot piping hot vegetables she's given. We would say thank you to her, Sai Ram, and go back. And another place we would go down, ring the bell, somebody would not answer the bell first. You ring the second bell a little longish, somebody will bark from inside. Like that, you know, oh my God. So you would wonder who it is, whether it's something wrong you did. And then he'd open up the door with his ruffled hair and his Sunday best, you know, with Bermudas and a banyan probably. And he would say, "Kya hai?" You know, as if we are there to beggars there standing. So we'll say, "Sai Ram sir, we have come to collect the food packet." To go. They would say like that. "Arey, ye koi मांगने वाले आए हैं, इनको food packet दे दो." I would look at my dad. I said, "Dad, वो हमको मांगने वाला बोल रहा है. He's telling we are beggars." Shh. Don't get excited. Don't get worked up. Then the house lady would come and she'd say, "Yes, ma'am, we are here to collect the food packets." "Oh, okay." She'll quickly go, in 2 minutes she'll be back, and that stale roti which was there in the last night, the children must not have eaten, and the stale vegetable would be there, and we would take it gladly and say, "Sai Ram, and thank you," and we would go with a heavy heart. So you know, you had contrasting people to kind of welcome you every time we went, and it used to be a very painful experience when somebody would insult my father. You know, my father was my hero, he still is, you know, but then when somebody insults your father and says, "Maangne wala aaya, usko roti de do," so I would feel very hurt within my heart. So one day, the same person I was talking about, his wife was equally wretched, you know, and they must be having a tough time with each other. So one morning when we went on a Sunday, we rang the bell, they didn't come. Second time we rang the bell, nobody came. Third time with a longish bell, the lady opened up immediately. "Kya hai?" We looked at her. It's, "Ma'am, Sai Ram, food packet." "Haan, ruko." And And then she said, "Pata nahi kahan se chale aate hain maangne." She said this under her breath. "Pata nahi kahan se chale aate hain maangne wale." I do not know from where all these people come to beg for food at our place. I looked up at my dad. I said, "Dad, this time you must give it to her." She said, "This is too much. Tell him, kahan se aa jate hain?" And my dad said, "Look, son, we are not beggars. We have a car parked outside. I am there with the thela in my hand. Nevertheless, but then Swami has taught us, you should be humble." I said, "No, Dad. Either you speak to her or I speak to her." So Dad said, "Quiet, young man. I will do the talking." So I was, getting up. I said, "Yeah, today this lady is going to get, my father is going to give it to her," and said, "Madam, do you know I am a hotshot lawyer of the town. I can hire for a few people like you. If you don't give me rotis, don't give, but don't misbehave like this." So I was imagining how my conversation is going to go. And the lady quickly came with those 4 stale rotis in her hand and, "Lijiye." So my dad said, with folded hands. I was realizing, why is he folding his hands here? He should be getting aggressive. My father, in a very apologetic way, folded his hands and he said, "Behan ji, हमारे आने से अगर आपको कष्ट होता है तो हम अगले संडे से नहीं आएंगे, पर आप ये जो भोजन देते हैं ना, उससे एक गरीब आदमी को भोजन मिलता है और आप सोचिए वो कितनी दुआएं देता होगा आपको." He said very humbly that, "Dear sister, you know something? We come home to collect this food packet at your place, and when you give this food packet, one poor man gets to have a square meal. And if you don't give, if we are causing you any discomfort or trouble, we will not trouble you again next week." So the lady did not answer, but she locked the door and went inside. And I looked at my dad, exasperated. "Kya, Dad? There was such a golden chance." He said, "No. Swami has said, when you go for seva, we are small people. We are there. If she has spoken wrongly to us, we should forgive her." Forgiving. So first lesson I learned, a sevak has no place to... When you go for seva, you show your attitude to your wife, if you can afford to do that. So you show your attitude to your friends, but when you go for seva, you don't show attitude. You go with that feeling of forgiveness. Forgive them. They know not what they are doing. But you are there as representatives of Bhagawan. How can you show attitude to anybody? If he gives you, thank you. If he doesn't give you, double thank you. But then you are contributing in those days. So with that feeling, next week we went again. I said, "Dad, you ring the bell. I'm not going." It used to be, being a young boy, I used to love ringing the bell and listen to the separate tones. Some would have a ding-dong, somebody will have that trrr, somebody will have those musical sounds. And you would correlate to the person, how that person would be when he opens the door, whether today he's going to be angry, upset, happy, all different kinds of moods, So it was a study in psychology, you could do that. So what's happening? So that day, I said, "Dad, you do the honors, you ring the bell." I stood back because I knew this woman is going to come and bark today, for sure. That तुम फिर से आ गए, वापस इतना बोलने के बाद. So I thought my dad is in for trouble today. So Dad rang the bell and promptly, immediately the door opened. The lady was, after taking a bath with the proper kind of a sari, and she said, "Food packet, no, मैं अभी लेके आती हूँ." Oh, she went inside and not one, there were 2 food packets, piping hot rotis. And she said, "Sir, I'm so sorry. I was in a very bad frame of mind last Sunday and I probably spoke to you very rudely. But you were so humble, you were so sweet, and you made me understand that with these rotis, there will be one person able to eat a square meal. So I thought, why one person? I must make 2 packets so at least 2 children get to have food. So please accept my humble offering. And from now onwards, I'm going to give you 2 food packets." Love gives and forgives, a lesson well learned by me as a small child. I looked up at my dad and he said, "Kya hua?" I said, "Dad, you win." First lesson learned. In seva, you have to be forgiving. And look at that transformation which came over that lady. She doesn't know Swami. She doesn't know your organization. She doesn't know what you stand for. But that fact of giving, you are giving an opportunity and you are becoming a forgiving nature. So what happens? The divinity automatically sparks. And when the sparks fly, what happens? A miracle takes place. So first time I realized that miracles do take place even when Swami chooses to be anonymous, when he's not there. And you know, when people say that, how much time do I have?
Maybe another 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll wind up.
Time flies very fast.
Okay. So, first lesson I learned that, you know, when Swami chooses to be anonymous, we normally say, oh, it's by chance it happened. It's not by chance. It's not a coincidence. Coincidence is an incidence where God chooses to be anonymous. So that is how things happen. And a lesson for all of us that as we go for seva, we must kind of, you know, be willing to always submit, cut our ego across, and then go down. How many of us, I have a question to ask here, since this watch seems to be running pretty fast. So, I have a quick question to ask all of you. How many of us pray? Wow, everybody prays. And what do we do when we pray? What happens when you pray? What happens? When you pray, Baba says it's talking to God. No?
Yes.
It's talking to God. Morning when I go, oh God, please help me become a better human being. Oh God, I have this nasty boss in office. I hope he's not in that frame of mind and I can. Please boss, my spouse is troubling me so much. Please give me the patience to bear with my spouse. Please God, my children are going haywire. Please show them the right path. Please boss, God, I'm having problems financially. Please sort it out for me. God, I want to go up in life. I have this jalopy here, this old worn out car. Why can't I get a good car? So we are constantly talking to God, asking for things. Are we? Are we not? We are. How do you hear God? Now you've prayed to God, you've talked to God, you've spoken to God. Now how do you know God wants to talk back to you? So Swami says, you do the jabbing, you know, blabbering. Arey Baba, listen to me, I also want to talk to you back. So what should you do if you want to hear God? Sit in peace and quietude in the morning for 10 minutes. Do meditation. Meditation is the time Swami says God talks back to you. That is the time you can hear the voice of God. And Swami says it's only in the silence that the voice of God can be heard. So, you must all sit for 10 minutes in meditation and ensure that you are able to hear the voice of God. You know, when we were in organization and we were working there, we were given a very good program by one of our brothers from Maharashtra. He called it 10-20-30. He said, if you really want to reach Godhood, just do 10-20-30. We said, what is this 10-20-30? He says 10 minutes of meditation, 20 minutes of Nam Smarna, and 30 minutes of reading Sai literature every day. Can we not take out 1 hour out of 24 hours as part of our personal sadhana? 10 minutes of meditation, 20 minutes of Nam Smarna, and half an hour of reading Swami's literature, or for that matter, any good literature, which is enlightening, which takes you upwards, and do it. Because he said there is no good friend like a good literature. So we do that, and we started doing it. So Swami is also kind of certifying that 10 minutes of meditation is a must for all of us if you want to hear to the voice of God. In my first year, September 1979 it was, I joined in the month of July, and like all of us, I too used to pray to God. And I used to pray loudly. Loudly in the sense, there was a statue of Lord Ganesha opposite the Dashabdar gate in Prasanthi Mandir, the then Dashabdar gate. Now, of course, there's a big gate which has come. So, when I would go after the bhajans, evening bhajans would get over, I would go down to the Lord Ganesha statue there and I would pray fervently. And what would I pray? I would pray for Vidya and Sadbuddhi. I would go constantly and pray to Lord Ganesha, God give me Vidya, give me Sadbuddhi. And why? If someone may ask, so I had learned somewhere, Vidya is knowledge. And knowledge is power. If you get Vidya, Vidya is that ornament, knowledge is that ornament which nobody can take away from you. So you must constantly ask for something which nobody can take away. And it qualifies you, it gives you knowledge, and you become a good person intellectually. So I would go down and I said, Lord Ganesha is the right person to ask for these things. So I would go for Vidya and Sadbuddhi. Why Sadbuddhi? Sadbuddhi means the ability to discriminate. And I said, why am I asking for Sadbuddhi? Because if I have Sadbuddhi, then I will go on the right path, I will listen to Swami, I will be able to do good deeds. So I must have Sadbuddhi, good intellect, good intelligence, the power of discrimination, and do that. Now for the next 2-3 months, I kept on harping. The moment I would see Lord Ganesha, when nobody is around, I would talk loudly and say, God, I want Vidya and Sadbuddhi. If boys are there, other devotees are there, it will be a quiet prayer. God, I want Vidya, I want Sadbuddhi. Just bless me with that. Now I think Swami must have got sick of me. This fellow, every day he comes, same prayer, nothing changes, Vidya, Sadbuddhi, Vidya, Sadbuddhi. So one day, Swami decided to call a few of us for a closed interview. And there, Swami sat down, and that his discourse was the power of prayer. What happens to you when you pray to God? And the power of prayer. Swami spoke so eloquently. I wish we had the time, and then Swami kept on going about how Guru Nanak told that power of prayer, how other gurus taught about the power of prayer, why praying is the most important aspect of any human being, how it connects you with you and God. It is that unseen thread which connects you to God, and we were all listening very diligently to Swami. And then Swami said, you see all these devotees who are sitting outside? My devotees? They are like, beggars for me. Every day. And then he looked at the boys. All of you also. Every day you ask me for worldly things. Somebody asks for money. Somebody asks for power. Somebody asks for position. Somebody asks for bungalow. Somebody asks for a motor car. Somebody asks for getting married. Those who are already married, they want a child. Those who have a child, they want that they should become good. Then when they become good, they grow up, then you want your daughter to get married. So this goes on, and everyone who comes to me, they are constantly asking for material things and worldly things from me. And then he looked at me, and I didn't know what to do. And he did like this, so I just folded my hands. But there are some devotees here who don't ask me for worldly things. No? I just shook my head. I said, yes, Swami. They asked for Vidya and Sadbuddhi. Now another shock. You are talking to Lord Ganesha. I didn't know there was a hotline between Lord Ganesha and Swami, that all that information is being transmitted there. And I was surprised and looking at Swami, and I shook my head, and it hit me like an arrow in my heart, that how did Swami know that I am asking for Vidya and Sadbuddhi? And Swami looked at me, "Kyun manta hai ye phaltu ki cheezein?" Oh, phaltu ki cheezein? These wasteful things? But one thing I was happy that I was not asking for any material things. Then, I was happy that, okay, Swami, please acknowledge that I'm not asking for any material thing. Because when you have Swami around and you are young, you want Vidya and Sadbuddhi. Material things could follow later. Maybe I had not fallen into that trap of asking material things to Swami. When the Swami said, do you know what every devotee must ask in their prayers? Now we realize, my God, what great good fortune. Here we have the avatar of this age who is teaching us what to ask even in our prayers. So we drew a little closer to Swami and we caught hold of his feet. Somebody caught hold of his leg, and we all said, Swami, please tell us what we must ask in our prayers. Swami said, it is very simple. Don't ask me for wealth, don't ask me for power, don't ask me for name, don't ask me for fame, don't ask me for anything worldly in your prayers. Do you know what you should ask? Ask for me and me alone. And when you ask me, I have in my hand name, fame, power, money, everything. And when you ask for me, I give you everything. So don't ask me for material things. If you ask me for money, maybe you'll have problems with the income tax also. You have problems, you want name, you may get name, but then you may not get money. You want fame, you may get fame, but then you may not get God. So there are so many things, whatever you may ask, you may get that, but then ultimately, what I have come to give, you may not get that. So if you want to ask in your prayers, don't ask anything. Ask for me and me alone. And then Swami said, I'm like the Divine Mother. You don't have to quantify the Swami, I need to change my car, please help me get a good car. You don't need to say, Swami, I'm living in a small house, I need a bigger house. Swami, I need name, fame, power, money. You don't need to say all that. He said, when your physical mother knows what are your necessities, don't you think your Divine Mother would know what your necessities are? And Swami said, give an example then. Swami said, when a baby is young, about a few months old, the husband comes back from office, the wife opens up the door, greets him with a smile, and he hears the baby cry. So the husband says, oh, go rush upstairs. I think the baby needs a change in the nappy. She must have done susu. So go and change her nappy. So the mother smiles and tells the husband, no, the baby's hungry. Right enough, he goes back behind his wife and peeks from the corner of the door when he opens. Sure enough, she's feeding the baby and the child is not wet and snappy. Next day again, he comes down and he hears the baby cry again. He says, I think the baby is hungry, go and feed her. He said, no, I've fed the baby already. I think the baby needs a nappy change. She must be feeling uncomfortable because it must have wet and snappy. Now, he goes back again and sees, how does this mom know? How does this lady know why the baby, whether the baby wants a change in nappy or the baby wants food, milk? So Swami said, when a worldly mother, without even going up, looking at hearing the cry of the baby, knows for sure that what the baby requires. So don't you think this Sai Ma, who's the Divine Mother of all, know what are your requirements? Just ask for me and me alone. And I promise I'm going to give everything to you. I am that mother who's come to give. But don't ask for these trinkets. I've come to give you diamonds. And then Swami related this beautiful episode out of Mahabharata. He said the war of Mahabharata was to begin. And that afternoon, the Kauravas and Pandavas wondering on whose side would Lord Krishna fight from. The Pandavas were sure that it is going to be from our side, but the Kauravas also wanted Lord Krishna to come on their side and fight this war of Mahabharata. Why? Because they were sure that there could be nobody better, a greater warrior than Lord Krishna. And if he comes into the war field with his Sudarshan Chakra, the other side is going to be finished. So with that thought in mind, Duryodhana came one afternoon to seek help from Lord Krishna and ask him this golden question, on whose side are you going to fight? After 10 minutes, Arjuna also came. He saw that Lord Krishna was taking that power nap in the afternoon with his hand like this in that position, and Duryodhana was sitting near the pillow. So he came, drew a chair next to Lord's feet and sat down there. So no sooner after a few minutes, Lord Krishna opened his eyes and he saw Arjuna sitting in front of him. So he asked him, oh Parth, when did you come? So Duryodhana cleared his throat and he said, Lord, I am also sitting here. Oh Duryodhana, you are also here? Please come in the front. Both of them sat together. That Lord knew why they have come. But he has to play the divine enactment of that role. So Lord asked, why have you both come here? So both of them replied in unison, Swami, this war of Mahabharata is going to be fought. We want to know on whose side are you going to be fighting. So Lord Krishna said, look, since this is the war of Dharma, Swami is relating it, this is the war of Dharma, I am not going to pick up arms. So one side, I will be there without my Sudarshan Chakra, without any arms, but I will be available in advisory capacity. But I will not take two arms. And on the other side is going to be my army with all the elephants, chariots, horses, weaponry. So what do you want? So who came first? Duryodhana said, Lord, I came first. So Duryodhana, your choice. Now Arjun's heart started beating very hard because he wanted Lord Krishna on his side, and he said, I hope he doesn't ask for Lord Krishna. And he kept on praying in his prayer, the Lord, I want you, please don't go with Kauravas, I want you. So after a few seconds pause, Duryodhana thought, if Lord Krishna is not going to fight, if he's not going to pick up weapons, and he's going to be merely in advisory capacity. So I have Bhishma Pitama, I have Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Shakuni, everybody to advise me, my friend Karna. So I think I'll let go, I'll take the army. So he said, Lord, I want the army. And then Krishna looked at Arjuna. I said, what do you want? He fell at Krishna's feet with tears in his eyes and he said, Lord, I want you and you alone. I don't want your army. I don't want anything. I want you and you alone. This was the prayer Arjuna made. So Swami said, now see what history shows. He got name, fame, power, money, kingdom, even the spiritual knowledge of Gita, which was reserved for Arjuna. Because he asked for God. And when you ask for God, God gives you everything because He knows what His child needs. And then Swami said, there are so many parents who name their children as Arjun. But have you heard any child naming his son as Duryodhana? Why? Not because Arjun was a great warrior. Even Duryodhana was a great warrior. But it is because Arjuna chose God over the world. So my dear brothers and sisters, I think we are so lucky to be living in an age where we had the opportunity of having Swami as our God, Swami as our Guru, who taught us as a mother would do with a small child, even what we must pray and how we must pray. I think those of us who have been praying for the wrong things to the Lord, I think it's a great lesson for us today here, which probably Swami wanted to give through me when he taught me this lesson when I was 18 years old, September 1979, that if you want to pray, pray for me and me alone. And when you pray for me, I give you everything. And I think, Swami, I owe this to you. I have also seen many ups and downs in my life. I have been tempted to change my prayer, but then Swami has said, when you are getting tempted to ask something else, just keep on repeating, Swami, I want you, Swami, I want you, Swami, I want you. Don't say anything else. I know what you want. I shall give you that. That is His grand assurance. And I think we are lucky that Swami is teaching us. So let us all join hands and pray to Bhagawan for Him and Him alone to guide us today, tomorrow, and forever for the rest of our lives, so that when our last moment comes, we have our Lord to come and take us in the divine chariot of His. And He feels proud that this was our child who has lived up to my expectations. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Yes, Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering my most prayerful salutations at the lotus feet of our most beloved Lord. Respected brothers and sisters, we've had a very invigorating session this morning, quite in the charged environment which Swami blessed all of us with. And we try to pick up from where we had left this morning, and we pray to Swami to guide us and to motivate us and to imbibe some of the hidden values which Swami has always been propagating in all the anecdotes and all the small instances. As I was going around and meeting everybody here this afternoon, the common factor I found with everyone is that every single person who came and met, they seemed like being driven by Swami. They had so much of love in their eyes for Swami that one could make it out. And probably it's a reciprocal kind of a thing that when you see devotees of such high level, you also feel charged and you'd like to share a few more of the stories, if you can call that, which you were able to witness while you were there in Puttaparthi. So before we begin our second innings here, I would want to put up a question before everybody. How many of us would want to look good and young forever? Wow. That's one. From the ladies' side, do we have some very clear answers? How many of us would want to look good and young for the rest of our lives? So I'll tell you a secret today, which Swami had shared with us. You know, it was the 60th birthday in 1985. Swami had turned 60 years of age. And I remember seeing Swami on the 60th birthday. He looked as young, as beautiful as ever, erect, and running around here and there and visiting people, talking to people, motivating everybody, guiding all the children. So he would do that. So whenever we would have our birthdays, we would take a birthday tray and sit in the front, and Swami would come down and ask you, what is it today? And we'd say, Swami, it's my birthday. So Swami would take a little log or a elaichi or maybe a few sweets and then throw them to the boys, and those who managed to get one, they would feel themselves to be blessed. But then conversely, the lecturers couldn't have gone and go there and sit with the students. So what the lecturers would do, they would sit quietly behind with the rose peeping out of their pocket. And as Swami would finish the darshans, he would first go to ladies' side, complete the round of the gents' side, and as he would be returning back, taking people for an interview, as Swami would pass by, the people would take out the rose very hesitatingly and look at Swami, and then Swami would ask, yes, what is it today? And then the lecturers would get up softly and say, Swami, it's my birthday, or it's my wedding anniversary, or Swami, I've bought a car with your blessings. There were so many things the lecturers would ask Swami, and Swami would bless them thus. So, one day it so happened, I think it was December or January, soon after Swami's birthday, in 1985 or it could be beginning of 86, one of our lecturers, it was his birthday, and he sat with a big rose peeping out of his pocket. And as Swami walked down, he took out that rose and offered to Swami. And Swami said, yes, what is it? So he said, Swami, it's my birthday today. Chisko. Swami moved a couple of inches behind, picked up his robe and signaled him to come and take Pad Namaskar. As he gratifyingly took Pad Namaskar and looked up at Swami, Swami blessed him twice on his shoulders, and then very lovingly, Swami asked him, how old are you, sir? So imagine, Swami is asking, how old are you, sir? So he looked up at Swami and he said, Swami, I am 50 years old. Swami said, look at you. You are 50 years old and I am 60 years young. So we all laughed like this. And the reason why Swami told him 50 years old, he had a pot belly, he had total grey hair, and some of them were missing like most of us have that problem. So then he turned around and he asked everybody, why does he look old in 50 years and why is it that Swami looks so young in 60 years? So we all looked at Swami and said, Swami, you are God. Hey, shut up. This has got nothing to do with God. No, Swami would tell. So this has got nothing to do with God. Tell me some more reason. Someone said, Swami, you are divine. Someone said, Swami, we don't know, but you are something. Or whatever our Bada Buddhi, as you would call it, our little knowledge which we had, we would give reason. Swami would say, Neti, Neti, not this, not this, not this. And then Swami said, shall I tell you a secret to look young, beautiful, smart and effulgent as ever like Swami is? Now tell me, when God is asking you this question, who wouldn't want to look like God? I mean, if I tell me, give your left hand and you start looking like Bhagawan, I would gladly do that. It was that question which came. So we said, yes, Swami, definitely we would want to be like you. He said, look at all of you. Some of you are losing hair, some of you have got pot bellies, some others, they have got grey hair totally. Look at me, I am 60 years young. I don't use any blackening agents. He asked one of us who was regularly going upstairs for cleaning up Swami's rooms and all. We all shook our heads, yes, Swami, we know that. We don't use, we are really not marketing for any of these blackening agent companies. So we knew that Swami is really not using any colors. Swami said, I've never been to a dentist. I don't wear specs. I can read your letter like this without specs, and most of us had specs on. And we all shook our heads that, yes, Swami, we have some problem or the other with our physical appearances and our problems, but you go ahead like this. Then Swami asked us a question, how is it that way? So again, we didn't know what to say. So Swami said, I will tell you a secret of how Swami is able to maintain that. And trust me, till the 85th, 86th year when Swami was there in this physical body, he never colored his hair and he had no problems with his eyesight. He could still read the letters clearly without any spectacles. And Swami said, the only reason for my looking young always and feeling young always is Chitta Shuddhi. Purity of thoughts, Swami said. If you inculcate purity in your thoughts, your body will go into a reversal process. It will start looking better, younger, you're probably, of all you know, I have known an organization in India, a few people who had absolutely grey hair and they've been doing yoga and practices and all good practices and they're getting black hair now. It's very surprising. As the age goes by, they're getting black hair. So maybe this has got something to do with Swami said. Swami said purity of thoughts. Those of you who practice purity in your thoughts, I bless you that you will look young, you will look better, and you will not have to go to the doctor as frequently as most of us go. So that is like a big revelation to all of us, but that is also a Guru mantra which Swami has given, that all of us, we don't need to go for facials and massages very regularly. Probably Swami could set us right if we set our purity of thoughts. Then Swami asked us another question. What happens when you do Namasmarana regularly and Seva regularly? Two questions, Swami said. What do you get when you do Namasmarana regularly and Seva regularly? So we said, Swami, we will reach you. Nothing. So Swami, we will reach God. Swami, we will get moksha. We said, no, you will get none of these things. So we were surprised. He said, Swami, in all your discourses you've been telling that in Kali Yuga, Namasmarana and Seva are the only sadhanas by which you can reach Godhood. So why is Swami refusing now? In public he's saying this and in private he's saying no. So then Swami said, if you do regular Namasmarana, if you do regular Seva activity, what you will get is Chitta Shuddhi. And when you get this Chitta Shuddhi, you will get closer to God. Because the purity, God is looking at purity. Purity of your heart. You know what happens in the world? The world always judges you by the actions you do. But God always judges you by the intentions you keep. That's the difference between God and the world. Whatever actions you do good actions, people will think you're a very good man, even though you may have some other intention behind it. But God says He doesn't judge you only by your actions, He judges you by your intentions also. So Swami said, when you do Namasmarana and Seva, you will get Chitta Shuddhi. And when you get Chitta Shuddhi, all you have to do is just call upon God and God will present Himself and He will be there with you in a second, within a few seconds. So these were, a few very enlightening incidents which Swami would probably tell us while we were there as students with Swami. Swami had a saying once, I was speaking to my brother Sanjay and brother Ravi Shankar on a few stories when we were discussing. We had a lovely satsang yesterday throughout the day and day before also. So a couple of incidents when we related, they said, you must tell this in your talk. So I am going a little off tangent than what we were talking this morning. So Swami had a saying, Swami said, when I am with men, I am a man. When I am with women, I am a woman. When I am with children, I am a child. But when I am alone, I am God. This is what Swami professes. And it is so true. When Swami goes inside a group of menfolk, I think all of us go crazy and we feel Swami is one amongst us. He's like a father, like a brother, he gives you that kind of an affection. And we have a man thing with him. But when similarly, when Swami goes on the women's side, you will see all the women flocking around Swami and they take the liberty of even holding Swami's hand and Swami would not object. Swami would bless them because, again I said, Swami looks at your intentions with what you do. And Swami would bless them profusely. And if you want to see how it would be, go for a private interview. If you get a chance with Swami of having gone inside the private interview, I have seen my own mother, fighting with Swami. Literally scolding him, why don't you do this, why don't you do that? And Swami was saying, okay Amma, I'll do this, okay Amma. So I was wondering, I said, what is this happening here? She's scolding Swami, she scolds me, but she's scolding Swami. And Swami used to be so patient. Yes Amma, I will take care. Don't worry, you don't need to get angry. No, I'm not angry, I'm just telling you this. No, you are angry with me. I know you get angry, you fight with me at home in front of the picture. And you would relate all what my mother would do. So these are incidents which gave us a rare insight that when Swami would go with women, he would become a woman himself. But when Swami is, the best thing is to see Swami with children. Oh my God, that purity which Swami has, he becomes a child himself. And Swami says, but when I am alone, I am God. So I'll relate to you a few incidents on the saying which Swami had said. Swami said, when I am with men, I am a man. So long back ago, there was a very ardent devotee of Swami. He was one Professor Vittal Rao. He was the erstwhile father of the then Anantapur College principal. Somebody will know the warden, Jayamma, yes. So Jayamma's father, it was Mr. Vittal Rao. And he was an ardent devotee of Swami, and he had that Sakha Bhakti with Swami, So every time Swami would go early morning in his car to Bangalore, which he used to go very frequently because that time there was no college in Puttaparthi, no school in Puttaparthi. So Swami's playground used to be Vrindavan. So Swami would go early in the morning, and roads were really not great at those times. So it would take him a while to go there. So there would be occasions when Swami would leave as early as 4 o'clock in the morning, so as to reach there by 7, by 8, so that they could be in time for breakfast, especially for those who are coming with Swami, because Swami hardly eats anything. So once it so happened, Swami left at 5 in the morning, and unfortunately there was no items prepared for breakfast. And around 7:30, Professor Vittal Rao, who was sitting next to Swami, started making discreet noises. Swami stopped the car, "I'm feeling hungry. Please Swami, we want to eat something." "What is this? Every morning you go early and we have to come with you and you don't give us anything to eat. So please Swami, stop. So Swami immediately raised his sleeves here on this thing, ready to, kind of make some manifestation. He said, look Swami, wait. We have had enough of your laddus. We don't want your laddus anymore." Look at that devotion. I mean, can any one of us ever go and tell this to Swami? You have to have that real Sakha Bhakti, or like you're a father figure to Swami, so you can dictate terms with him. So he said, "No, Swami, we don't want all your laddus. We've had enough of your laddus. You give us something else." So Swami stopped and said, "Okay, Vittal Rao, what is it that you want?" He said, "Swami, I want a masala dosa." What a choice! A masala dosa in a moving car and asking Swami to do it. But Swami is never the one to ever not accept a challenge. And he said, "Okay, Vittal, I'm going to give you a masala dosa." And Swami waved his hand, and as the masala dosa was about to fall, he picked it up like this, and in Swami's hand, a piping hot masala dosa, and Swami said, "Straight from my kitchen, sir, for you." And he held it in his hands, and he could feel the warmth and the heat emanating, as if it was straight out. And I assure you, this is probably an recorded story, that only time in the history of Swami's life that he even produced a masala dosa for his devotee. I mean, he could have asked anything in the world, but he asked masala dosa, and Swami gave it to him. So, it was a man thing between two people. When a man tells Swami like a friend, "Okay, Baba, enough of your this thing, give me a masala dosa." "Yeah, okay, I'll give you a masala dosa." So he gave him a masala dosa. So that is how Bhagawan is. He's never short of taking and accepting any challenge. And then I'm reminded of one more very beautiful incident, which says, Swami says that I am with women, I am a woman. There was one lady who had to be admitted in the middle of the night. She was having birth pangs, and she was about to deliver a baby. And the main nurse, who was supposed to be on duty in the hospital then, to take care so that if there was any emergency, she could call on the doctor who could probably help her in the delivery. Now suddenly, in the middle of the night, that nurse who was giving duty, she said, "Okay, let me straighten my back a little bit and let me straighten my feet, and I'll sleep for a while, and the moment this lady calls for me, I'll go down and call the doctor if it is required." And as it happened, after the nurse slept off, this lady, she started feeling the pains. Her water bag burst, and she started crying and shouting for help. She called for the nurse, and the nurse was nowhere visible because she was poor thing. She slept off, and suddenly she felt that the nurse entered, and there was very dim light in the room. The nurse came, spoke very soothingly, very softly, very nicely, and she put her hand on her forehead like a mother would do probably, and spoke in the same hushed tones and said, "Don't worry, I'm going to take care, I'm here now." And then that lady who had come in the night, she helped her with the delivery. A baby boy was born, and the moment the baby came into the world, the baby starts crying. And when the baby started wailing, the other nurse who had slept off, she came running. She got a shock and she saw that the delivery had already taken place. The baby was placed around the woman, and then she asked her, "How did this happen? I was not there." He said, "No, I was crying for help, so a nurse came, but she was not in white clothes. She was in some reddish clothes, and she came, and she's a very pious lady. She helped me with the delivery, and she's gone now." So she went out and looked. There was nobody to be seen. So morning, the doctor came and the nurse was very scared to tell her that I had slept off and there was somebody else who came and helped with the delivery. So she said, the doctor came and asked, how did it go? She said, yes, doctor, she's fine now and everything is okay, the baby's there. So the doctor went and said, okay, bring her for a checkup. So they wheeled her away into the doctor's chamber where she was sitting there, and there on top of a table, that lady's picture was there. The lady with that halo of hair and red clothes, and she said, oh, that lady looked something similar to this. So who was this lady who came for delivery? So the doctor said, you come again. This is not a lady. He said, no, I promise you, this lady came in the night and she helped me with the delivery. And she was so very soft with handling me. She was so nice. She was so warm. She was so motherly. And the doctor had tears flowing out of her eyes that we sometimes fudge in our efforts, but God, is there as a rock-solid foundation to support the devotees, and God was there to even do this work of probably delivering a small little baby, and it very strongly suggests, that when Swami is with women, he's like a woman. He's one of them. You feel that it is like your own mother doing it for you. And then Swami says, when I'm with children, I'm a child. How many of us have heard the story of Gajendra Moksha? Have you heard the story of Gajendra Moksha? Okay, those of us who have not heard the story, I'll relate to you. Gajendra is the name of the elephant who was an ardent devotee of Lord Vishnu. And he would always chant the name Narayan, Narayan. And one day, this Gajendra went for a bath in the local lake there, and there was a wicked crocodile hiding there, and the crocodile attacked and got hold of the elephant's leg. Now, crocodile is the most powerful in water. Even the elephant found himself difficult to extricate his leg from the jaws of crocodile. And what would the elephant do? It started taking the name of Lord Narayana and started shouting, Narayan, Narayan, please come and save me. And his shoutings reached the Lord who was there in the Vaikuntha underneath the sea, and he told Mata Lakshmi that wait on, one of my devotees is in trouble. He summoned Garuda and took out his Sudarshan Chakra, came flying like a jiffy, and reached there and released his Sudarshan Chakra, cut off the neck of the crocodile, and that is how Gajendra got moksha. In the sense, that is how he was relieved from trouble and he fell at the God's feet. Now this is the original story. Now this is the story ends. Now I'm coming down. When I am with children, I am a child. So it so happened once, again I'm talking of these episodes which are not recorded anywhere, but I had the good fortune of my warden relating us by way of a quiz. The first question was, when did Swami ever create a masala dosa which is never done till now? So even after that in 1980 also, when it was related to a 79 and 80, I don't remember anybody claiming that Swami had created a masala dosa. So now this third episode, Swami was there in Puttaparthi, and one of the devotees had made a new house. And once he constructed the new house, he refused to go inside. And he had a precondition that, Swami, you have to come and bless the house, only then will I shift inside. So Swami said, okay, you do your Griha Pravesham, I will come and bless. He said, no, Swami, you have to come and bless my house. So Swami said, okay, I'm passing by that area, so I'll stop and visit your house. So he had made extensive preparations for Swami to come, decked up the whole house with flowers, beautified it, and waited for Swami to come. And as Swami had promised, his car, that big imported car he had even in the 60s, it came and stopped outside the house. He went rushing out, opened Swami's gate, respectfully brought in Swami, then showed to Swami, Swami, this is our living room, this is our bedroom, this is our puja room. And as he was about to take Swami upstairs, he had a small child of about 7 or 8 years old. So that child came running and fell at Swami's feet. So when he fell at Swami's feet, Swami was so thrilled looking at a small little child rolling on his feet. He got him up and then he caught hold of Swami's hand. And he said, Swami, come, I want to show you my bedroom. So Swami was so kind of happy looking at a small child with the confidence which his father also had, that let me take you to my room. Swami said, okay, come, I'll come with you. He took Swami upstairs, and in the small little room which he had, Swami, this is my cot, this is my study table, and there was a paddle car. In those days, we These days we have the battery operated car which the children sit and drive around the house. He had a paddle car. So those cars were there in which there were paddles, and you could probably sit at the house and get the pleasure of driving it in the open or in the courtyard. So Swami asked him, whose car is this? Swami, this is my car. Very proudly he announced to Swami. Swami said, oh, you've got a very beautiful car. It was a red colored car. So he said, Swami, can I tell you a story? Now imagine a small little boy asking Swami, Swami, can I tell you a story? It ought to be the other way around. Swami should have been telling him a story. But then he said, Swami, can I tell you a story? Swami said, yes, please do. So Swami said, where do I sit? So Swami was going to go and sit on his bed. He said, no, no, Swami, you are not to sit on the bed, you have to sit on the car. So Swami said, I can't possibly fit into the car. He said, no, no, Swami, you have to sit in my car. So Swami very delicately balanced and parked himself on the bonnet of that car, the small little car. And he said, okay, now you tell. Now the small little boy sat on the floor where Swami was sitting. And then he said, Swami, I want to tell you a story, but promise you will not go and tell this to anybody. Swami said, okay, I will not tell. He said, Swami, I want to tell you a secret. That Sai Gita elephant, you know, which you have got in Puttaparthi, she's a very naughty girl. In those days, Swami used to tie Sai Gita underneath his bedroom, and she used to be part and parcel of the ashram only. He said, when you go back inside after darshans, she quietly slips out of Prasanthi Nilayam gates and she goes to Chitravati to have a bath in the water. She enjoys, and just before you are about to come for darshans again in the afternoon, she finds her way from Chitravati and comes and stands there, and then you come and pat her and play with her, but she's a very naughty girl. So Swami was so happy listening to this boy speak some such thing like that about his favorite devotee Sai Gita. He said, then what happened? He said, Swami, one day Sai Gita left Prasanthi Nilayam without telling you, and she wanted to go and take bath in Chitravati waters, and there was this big crocodile hiding in the water. And no sooner did Sai Gita go inside the water, the crocodile lunged and caught hold of Sai Gita's leg. And poor Sai Gita, she was trapped. She didn't know what to do. So she started shouting, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. And when she started shouting Sai Ram, Swami heard it inside his bedroom that Sai Gita is in trouble. And what did Swami do? Swami called Radha Reddy and called Radha Reddy, take my car out. And immediately Radha Reddy took his car out. Swami was getting down the staircase, and on the staircase there was a big gun. Swami took out that gun and sat in the car, and armed with the gun, Swami went to Chitravati and took aim carefully and shot the alligator in one shot. And so,
It's not with my computer.
Yeah.
Okay, can I continue?
Yes, yes.
Swami would say this is technology. Technology always has its own flaws. So we'll continue with our story. So, this child continued saying that Swami came down with a gun, took a sure shot aim, and killed the crocodile in one go, and Sai Gita was released. And Sai Gita fell down at Swami's feet and asked pardon and promised Swami that Swami, I'm not going to ever go to Chitravati without your permission. When the story ended, Swami was catching hold of his stomach and rolling on the floor like a child. And Swami was so thrilled with this imagination, with this child. Probably his mother or Bal Vikas teacher must have given him the story of Gajendra Moksha. But the child used his imagination to relate the story in such a beautiful fashion that Swami was sold out. So Swami looked at the child, told his father, what should I give him? The father didn't know what to say. So then Swami asked the child, what do you want? The child said, Swami, would you really give me if I ask you something? Swami said, ask whatever you want. I'm going to give it to you today. He said, okay, Swami, then give me the keys to your imported car which is standing outside. And without taking a second, Swami called Raja Reddy and handed over the keys of the car to the child and ensured that the car was given to the family, more so to the child. And probably, this is the only incident. This is the only incident, again an unrecorded one, which was asked by a warden in a quiz, that which is the only incident in Swami's life that Swami presented an imported car to a child. So this was the whole story. So those of you probably who are Bal Vikas teachers or are interested with smaller children, the story can do wonders, to understand how Swami's persona was and how he was so loving, so direct, and he would never go back on his words. For a child to relate that story and correlate it with Gajendra Moksha, it was so beautiful. So, someone asked a question the other day when the story was related. I was thinking about that. They say that when you get killed from the hands of God, you attain moksha. So, everyone speaks about the story of Gajendra getting moksha. But what about that crocodile who was killed by Lord Vishnu? Did he get moksha or not? Now I am putting up a question to you. Did that crocodile also attain moksha or not? Yes. Yes? Yes. Yes, surely he did. Why? Why did the crocodile attain moksha? He was a wicked person. He was trying to kill that elephant who was an ardent devotee of Lord Vishnu. So how could he attain moksha?
He was holding on to devotee's feet. He was holding on to the devotee's feet.
I think we should clap for this beautiful Swami would say that if you become the servant of my servant, when you catch hold of the feet of the downtrodden people, you will automatically get moksha. So how do we get hold of the feet of the downtrodden people? By offering service wherever we can. That is what is the hidden story in this. That when you hold the feet of the devotees of the Lord, like Swami would say, I am Sai Dasanudas, I am the servant of Sai's servant. That is how it is. So this is very true with all of us, that if we catch hold of the downtrodden people who are very close to Swami's heart, I am sure, I think moksha is not very far away for us in this birth. And the last of all, we round up the small little episode here with Swami saying that when I am alone, I am God. How many of us know the story that when Swami retires in the evening, he goes off to sleep? That is what we assume, isn't it? We all assume Swami is resting in the afternoon or Swami is resting in the evening. But those of us who had an opportunity to be very close to Swami, some of us can certify that not always it was that Swami's body may be there, but Swami is moving around the whole world while he's there. And in fact, that's the time he's really God. So I'm reminded of a very beautiful episode from the life of Swami's car driver Raja Reddy, who had related once to some of the students. He said that he used to sleep outside Swami's bedroom. Day in and day out, Swami would ask him to sleep outside. So one night around 3:30 or so, he saw a bright light emanating out of the door. The door was closed, not locked from inside, but a very bright light, as if thousands of bulbs have lighted in Swami's room, and he was a little perplexed. And he was wondering what is happening in Swami's room. Is it on fire? What has gone wrong? How can Swami's room be so badly lighted? So lighted with so powerful lights. So he saw that Swami's room was slightly ajar. And he said, probably, you could say he did not realize what he was doing. He just opened the door slightly. And he must have got such a huge lot of shock from that light which was inside that he got thrown away, a few feet away, and he passed out. He passed out. And after a while, after half an hour or so, he saw Swami standing near him, and he said, "Hey Radha Reddy, what happened to you?" And Radha Reddy got up immediately and said, "Swami, I saw some light and I couldn't I couldn't decipher what it was. And I opened the door, and while I was opening the door, some flash hit me and I was thrown back and I passed out." And then Swami said, "What do you think? Am I sleeping in the room? When you people think that I am sleeping in the room, you do not know how many people, how many devatas, how many gods come to have darshans of Swami. You people are so lucky that I am available only for you and you alone. And whereas these people, saints and sages and various other gods, they are not permitted to come. So that is the time, sometimes I permit them, and that is how they have my darshans." So again, a very deep, impactful fact that when Swami says, "When I am alone, I am God," he is actually operating on those standards only. Talking of this episode, I am reminded of a later incident, much later. Brother Arundel also would know this gentleman I am talking about. He is an MBA student by name Kishore, who later on went on to become a lecturer there in Puttaparthi. And he was known to be a very devoted, very spiritually inclined person. And his surrender towards Swami was complete. So one day, there was a discussion going on between certain people that all these pigeons which you see flying in the Pulwant hall. So someone said they are saints and sages, they have come to have Swami's darshan, they are not merely pigeons. So somebody scoffed at the idea of a pigeon being a saint or a sage. Others probably said, well, if Swami is permitting them, Swami is not throwing them out, Swami is not ensuring that they move, there might be some truth into the story. So one day, Swami was, as Swami would go for darshans in Pulwant hall, those days Swami used to walk and give darshans. So as Swami was going by, there would be pigeon droppings in front of Swami. And there would be those alert Sevadal members who would go rushing with a wet cloth and wipe out that pigeon dropping and ensure that those pigeon droppings do not come on way of Swami's feet or probably dirty his dress. So on one such occasion, where the boys were sitting, as Swami was walking gradually, a pigeon sat on top and there was a pigeon droppings on the path of Swami, where Swami was standing. So Swami looked at it and looked up and looked down and smiled. And all the boys also laughed that Swami is looking at the pigeon, who's done some pigeon dropping there. And then Swami looked at Kishore and he said, "Go eat it, it is prasad." "Go eat it, it is prasadam." And all the boys laughed at Swami's joke, that Swami is meaning that a Sevadal volunteer wanted to come, Swami stopped them. Because in a jiffy, Kishore got up and with his fingers, he picked it and licked it on his tongue and sat in front of Swami. Imagine, Swami went jokingly that it is prasadam you take, and he went there and with his fingers took that pigeon dropping and gulped it inside. Swami only blessed him, and probably we as students realized that surrender to Swami's words. Swami may mean anything. If you want to follow him, you have to follow his words totally, correctly, without giving any meaning to it. Then your surrender towards Swami is complete. You know, we are all men of the world. We are living in this world, we have so many problems of the world, but we are also walking the path of spirituality. But there are times when we are caught in the crossfire, whether I should be doing the organization work or seva work, or I should be doing something else. So Swami would, often tell his devotees that if you do my work, I will take care of all your works. Have you heard this? Swami telling to devotees, if you do my work, I will take care of all your worldly works. And what are my works? Swami said, don't differentiate that this is office work, this is home work, and this is Swami's work. Swami says, just as with the same devotion you do Swami's work, you must put in the same devotion in your office work also. Similarly, those of ladies who are working at home, who are taking care of their children, who are taking care of their in-laws, who are taking care of their family, they must also work looking at it that this is Swami's work. I have to work with the same goal, with the same intensity, with the same feeling. And Swami said, when you treat all work as God's work, Swami said, then I respond to you in the same way, that I give myself wholly, completely, totally. So way back in '82, that was the time when Asian Games came in India for the first time, and along with the Asian Games came the color television in India. That was the time when color television came, and everybody checked out their black and white television and started buying the television. So this was that period I'm talking to you about, 1982, Dasara time. At those days, we were trained to work for gymnastics to put up the annual sports day. So Brother Aruna is there, so he would know how we all used to practice with Brother Kishan Lal and certain trainers who were brought from the army to train all these children, because it used to be a grand affair even then, way back in '82. Though it took huge proportions later on, Swami was training us for something big. So we remember we used to leave our studies and go and just practice gymnastics. In that, there was one particular exercise that a boy has to come running. There would be a wooden table, we call it a wooden horse. And one was supposed to go, take a jump from his hands, take a somersault and land on your feet. So what would happen is, two trainers would be on either side of the table. When a person would come running, he was helped to take a somersault so that he can go and jump. And as he would land on his 2 feet, there were two people to catch hold of the child also, so that he doesn't hurt himself. So we practiced this jumping somersault wooden horse thing for a couple of weeks, and we were able to do it sufficiently all right. And then one day we were told that we are going now, the trainers said, the two of them were there, they said we are going to teach the school boys, you ensure that without your assistance nobody does this somersault independently, because they can get themselves hurt. I remember there was this boy from Assam. He was a very well built boy. He was in class 11 and strongly built. He was in a army public school earlier. So he was seeing this practice of our somersaulting in the air. So he came and told one of our brothers, he said, well, I've been from an army public school and I have done this somersault, can I show it to you? Now, not remembering what our coaches had said, he said, okay, you show. So he went running behind, came with a force, and with his hands, he took a jump, and the jump was not very clean, but he landed on his feet. We said, wow, it has taken us 2 weeks to reach, and this guy already knows how to do it. Though that finesse was not there, he went with a little bit of, thud when he landed. So, getting excited on this, we told him, come on, do it again, show it again. So second time, he did it again. Oh, there were claps that, wow, this boy is not practiced and he is able to do it. The third time, we encouraged him to do again to show off to the others. Then now there was a motley crowd of boys which had surrounded this boy, and he came running. The third time when he came, as he was about to take the jump, his leg slipped. And as his leg slipped, the somersault which ought to have come with that force, it did not happen. And we saw him falling on his back. And we knew that if he falls on his back, he might injure his back very badly and it could be very fatal. and to save himself, he put his hand behind, and we heard a noise crack, and we could see that his hand broke into two. The bone literally was lunging and hanging, and he didn't know what to do, and he was writhing in pain on the floor, and we got so scared. We called the coaches came, they immediately gave him first aid and rushed him to the general hospital. In those days, way back in 82, there was no super speciality hospital, there was only one particular doctor who was there, and unfortunately for us, he was also away to Bangalore. And we were informed that he would come back after 5 or 6 days. Now, we senior boys were being held responsible for not being careful enough and permitting him. The coaches got scared, the warden got scared, we got scared, and we didn't know what to do but to pray to Swami to save us. And Swami was happily away in Bangalore. And we didn't know what to do. And we were praying to Swami, Swami, please help. This boy is in terrible pain and he needs surgery. Someone suggested, let's take him in a car to Dharmavaram. There we'll do. Someone said, no, Dharmavaram has got no proper doctor. Let's take him to Anantapur. Someone said, take him to Bangalore. No, don't take to Bangalore. If Swami gets to know, without his permission, you have come there, what will happen? You know, at the worldly level, we are thinking and arguing with each other. Suddenly a small boy came, school boy, and he said, my father is a orthopedician. He's a surgeon, and if you want, I can ask him to come from Visakhapatnam and attend to him. So it was like, you know, God sent opportunity. He said, do you think he'll be able to operate on him? He said, surely he will operate. So there, immediately in those days, there were no STD calls or something. You booked a lightning trunk call, called up Dr. Rao and asked him that please come urgently. We need someone to come and tend to this patient here who's broken his hand, and we should explain to him what the condition was. Immediately at 3:34 in the afternoon, this guy took out his car and drove, I don't know how, at what breakneck speed to reach early morning to Puttaparthi. The whole night he must have driven. And as he went there, he told that I'll be reaching around this time, please keep the operation theatre ready. The operation theatre was kept ready with the help of a couple of junior doctors and some senior boys there. We rushed the child in the OT, and after 2 hours of difficult time, he came out with sweat pouring on his forehead, and he said, with Swami's grace, I think we'll be able to save his arm. You did a good thing by calling me, and I think with Swami's grace, he will survive and he will have no trouble, except that please ensure he doesn't take part in gymnastics anymore. We all seeked a collective sigh of relief. We got him to the hostel, served him coffee and breakfast, and after which he said, I think I have to rush back to Visakhapatnam now, so by late night I'll reach. I have various surgeries and patients lined up for the next day. So we had a research scholar in maths who asked him, sir, tell me something. We called you up once, on one phone call you came running. When you came running, I'm sure that evening you would not have seen any patients. Next day morning's patients were gone. Now today's patients would also go. So don't you think, and you are not even charging any fees, so don't you think it's a financial loss for you to attend to one single patient, whereas you could have attended to so many patients? So he just smiled wryly and he said, well, you know, Swami has told me that you take care of my work, you do my work, and I will take care of all your works. So we said, Doctor, how do you define this? He said, every time Swami told, I asked Swami in an interview, Swami, what is your work? Swami said, you are a doctor. When a patient comes to you who can't afford treatment, don't charge him money. Treat him free of charge. Whenever you feel there is a person who's in trouble, don't look at the cost involved, the money involved. Just take care and relieve them of their worry. And I promise you, I'm going to take care of all your financial needs. And he would say that there would be 2 surgeries or 3 surgeries planned on a particular day. But the day I would do a free surgery, I would have 2 additional surgeries. Or some rich man would come who's willing to pay me any amount for performing a surgery out of time, or a complex case which come, he would be willing to pay me more. So I never had any financial loss. And then he said, I will tell you a story, which is the crux of what I'm trying to relate to you here. He started off that this happened about 6 months ago, that the television had come, the color television had come in India in 1982. So Dr. Rao said, even I wanted a color television. And I realized that the Sony television was very expensive then. There was a particular model by name Sony Black Tribhuvan in those early 80s, you know. Those of us who are senior citizens, they would remember. And everybody wanted that Black Tribhuvan set to be in the drawing room because everyone wanted to see everything in colors. Because far too long everybody had been watching only black and white pictures. So this doctor also started saving money to buy a color television. So let's say the television was 25 or 27 or 30, whatever may have been the cost. He saved that much money and he spoke to his wife, tomorrow we'll go to the market and we'll buy the television. Because children are going to come for holidays, so let's watch Asian Games live in color television. And so the wife said, okay, tomorrow we'll go down. Now that very evening, I don't know, it was Rotary Club or Lions Club members, they came down to Doc Saab's clinic. And they said, sir, you have been doing yeoman service for us. You go for free medical camps with us. This Sunday again, we are holding a free medical camp wherein we need your services in the village. Would you please come? He said, yes, definitely we'll come. He said, and this year is the annual function we are doing. We are holding a fete. In that fete, there is going to be some kind of a lottery also. So we want that you buy some lottery tickets for us. There are going to be awards and rewards in that lottery. So he said, how much? So he said, how much is the lottery ticket? So he said, about 100 rupees. So he said, okay, let me think about it and do it. And then, soon as these Lions Club people went, the Sathya Sai Trust people came to him that same night. And they asked him, sir, you are very lucky that your children are studying in Swami's college. You are starting a new school, Sathya Sai Vidya Vihar in Visakhapatnam. And we have noted down certain names. We have collected some funds from certain people who could willingly donate to procure the land. So there is only one slot left and it was you. So we were wondering if you could donate something for the trust. So he asked them, how much is it that you are running short for? So he said about 25,000 or whatever may have been the figure. So he counted, he had 25,500. So he, without thinking, he gave 25,000 to the trust people. He said, you're doing a wonderful, great job of teaching so many generations to come. So many good students would churn out. So you please take this and go and buy the land. And I pray to Swami that the school does well. Those trust people thanked him profusely, went and started preparations for the registration of the plot. Then that evening, the same Rotary people came and they said, we want to give you 5 tickets, 100 rupees each ticket. So he knew he had 500 rupees lying. He gave those 500 rupees also, and then he was broke. He had no money left for the television. So he went home and spoke to his wife, and he said, look, I did something without asking you. I hope you will not be upset on this. So she said, wife said, oh, wonderful. You've done such a great service. You've given that money for land and a new school would come up here. Why not? The television can wait. It will come some other time. So he felt so relieved that I have such a supportive wife. And then he went out to the next week, did his seva in the Grama Seva, the village seva activity which he did, free medical camp, and forgot about everything. About 15 days later, as he was having his dinner in the night at home, there was a knock on the door. And his wife said, quickly have your dinner. I think there must be some emergency case for you. So he quickly finished dinner and rushed out thinking, hoping that there is no emergency case. And he opened up the door and there were those 3 or 4 Rotary Club people standing in front of him. And they said, Doc Saab, congratulations, congratulations. He said, what congratulations for what? He said, you know that we had come to you the other day? Yes. We had given you 5 tickets, those raffle tickets for the lottery. He said, yes. Where are those raffle tickets? He said, well, they must be lying somewhere in my clinic. Why, what about them? He said, sir, in the raffle tickets, you got the first prize, and the first prize was Sony Color Black Triniton television. Dr. Rao said, tears started pouring out of my eyes for thankfulness to Swami that Swami, you are taking care of even a need of a television for me. When I am willing to forego that, you took care of me and got me a television. And those Rotary Club guys would never understand. They thought this poor doctor is so happy that he's crying because he's got a television. How would they know that there's such an inner connection? And then he told, that is why I tell you, Swami says, you do my work and I will take care of all your works. Way back in 82 this happened, such a long time. It is still fresh in my memory. I thought all of us are working for the cause of Swami. All of us are being trained by Swami. All of us are hardcore, ardent devotees of Swami. We've been deriving inspiration. We've been wanting to do better work. So what better example that when you take care of, Swami says, when you do my work, I will take care of all your works. So let us all join hands and pray to Swami that he makes us able instruments in his divine mission. He gives us the strength and the ability to take out and carry out his works in whatever small measure we can do. And we pray to Swami that let us all be shining examples so that, like morning I had said, when we pass away, our children place the photographs there in the altar next to Bhagawan, saying that they were contemporaries of Swami, they had been with Swami, they had seen Swami, and they were walking examples of Swami. With these few words, I would like to thank you so much for being such a patient audience. Wholeheartedly thank Swami for giving me this golden opportunity of meeting so many of his wonderful devotees. Would like to thank Brother Pradosh also for being very persuasive in ensuring that I don't miss this trip here and having brought me here. And I'm so glad that I met so many of gems, all Swami's gems here, and so many of them are sitting here. And we thank Swami and thank all of you. And we pray that may Swami give us strength to be able and good instruments in his divine mission forever. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.
Om Shri. Saram, dear brothers and sisters. I do have to think for a minute from now on when I say the word brothers and sisters, whether I'm saying it out of my heart or I'm just saying it. I have no words to thank Brother Tribhuvan Sachdeva for coming all the way from India and spending the precious time with us, the Memorial Day weekend with us, and sharing some of the love with all of us. We were talking earlier today, and this topic of you take care of my job, my work, and I take care of your work came up in our discussion. And one thing that Brother very eloquently confirmed and validated is the fact that his work is anything that is done with purity of thought and with selfless mindset. Thank you, brother, for sharing your beautiful love and experiences with us. Few points besides. When we say brothers and sisters, we have to remember that it has to come from our heart. Let us share our wealth of love as we move forward from here. Let us have purity in thoughts. Like Swami has given through the stories Brother Sachdeva had shared, let us always forget and forgive. Man mein naam, hat mein kaam. It's another nugget that we should take as we go today. With that, I don't want to be in between us and Bhajan. I would request Brother Pradosh, as a token of appreciation from the region to Brother Sachdeva, offer some flowers.